Well, Dan Ashworth leaves Manchester United. He has been sacked. I tell you, he has been sacked by the board of Manchester United, relieved of his duties with just 5 months of him being at the club of Manchester United. And guys, I'm like, what is really happening at Manchester United? And I said something that most people really felt that I was defending Erik ten Hag, but I remember coming out and obviously telling you that I never wanted to see a new manager coming in through to obviously face the problems that are really happening at Manchester United. And what was my argument? It was, before we bring in a new manager, let's leave Erik ten Hag here such that we use him as a case study or litmus test to obviously gate everything out, such that when Ruben Amorim comes in through, he doesn't fall into this shit that he has really fought or fell in right now at the club of Manchester United. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Dan Ashworth, who we went ahead and obviously paid fully for to get outside Newcastle to come to Manchester United. He got a gardening leave and you waited for him, because the announcement, I remember the announcement of which came first. I think the announcement of one, the CEO, Omar Berada, came first. That was around as we headed into the new year, I think January. Then I think around February, March, an announcement was made that United has agreed to obviously get Dan Ashworth as their sporting director or director of football. You understand? A position that we had craved for so long to obviously see a person that has the credentials take it. Now, when it really happened this way, I was really shocked and I was like, who does this? I was really very, very shocked because I found it very, very, very hostile. I found it very good when we got him in, but him leaving right now in less than 5 months, I'm really perturbed, And this is what I told you when Erik ten Hag was being sacked, that Manchester United is doing things that are really bad. Why? You've just gone ahead, obviously, see a manager, work with a sporting director, who is the head of recruitment, Jason Wilcox, Omar Berada, Christopher Vevel, for just July, August, September, right? And I think half of November. 3 months, half of October, 3 months, and you sacked the manager. That showed you that someone was not in control. Because if Dan Ashworth was the one who took the decision to keep Erik ten Hag here, he would have not gone ahead, obviously, sack him after 3 months. You get? So that means someone else is over exercising his powers at the club of Manchester United, and that is none other than Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And this is where administration goes wrong. In administration, if you ever come up and obviously miss out on a step, then that chain won't obviously give you results. I tell you this because you saw to it that at Chelsea, even when Abramovich went ahead to sack very many managers, but his hierarchy was stable. It was stable, and he hired the best brains in football. And where does Sir Jim Ratcliffe get all the audacity to obviously sack this man? Because the man has just been here for 5 months. And how do you expect him to obviously conduct a very, very well transfer window, that is really elite? When he joined the club of Manchester United, when we are into the summer transfer window. If you know football business, you have to be talking to the players you're going to be bringing in, like from now December. The players you want to sign in January, you have to start talking to them even in the summer. The players you want to sign next summer, talks have to start right now in December. And now, guess what is going to have to happen? We've sacked the sporting director. We are going to bring in a new sporting director. He has to obviously reassess all these players and reassess the club. and then come up with a decision on who to bring in and who not to bring in. That is really very vague for this club, and I think they're doing very bad things in here. Now, David Austin says, Dan Ashworth has left his role as Manchester United sporting director after just 5 months. And he's the main man that went ahead to obviously break the story that Dan Ashworth has left his role as a Manchester United sporting director after 5 months. He added on and said, the transition has not been such smooth and Dan Ashworth's exit has been decided upon. Ashworth's departure was agreed in meeting with Chief Executive Omar Berrada at Old Trafford after Manchester United's Premier League game with Nottingham Forest, that loss. He also added and said, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been pivotal to the call to part ways in a move that will stand United FC, given Dan Ashworth's prominence in trying to reshape the club. United instigated the separation. So, United were the main people that obviously called in for this guy to leave. And this shows you that something is not right. In the management of INEOS, I've always gone ahead and obviously warned you. Don't you remember? I came up and I told you how they've gone ahead obviously sack 6 managers in 6 years. They've gone ahead obviously manage INEOS. And he's bringing the same shape at the club of Manchester United. And when you're doing a rebuild, this is not what you do. When you want instant success, you don't go in for players like Lenny Yoro, the Ugates of this world. You have to go in for finished articles like Matthias De Ligt. You have to go in for the likes of Mazarawi because they are tested and they've won before, and you're bringing them in an atmosphere to act as mercenaries. And this is what he would have gone ahead to obviously tell us when he came in through. That is, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he told us that in 3 years, that's where he's planning to win trophies. And he's like, he wants to win trophies now. How do you obviously digest someone in 5 months and obviously say what he did was bad? So you anticipate that those players that are going to be brought in are really going to be giving instant impact. These people are naive about the game. I tell you, that is it. They are naive about the game, I must tell you. INEOS, the only person who has a football brain on INEOS is none other than Jean-Claude. And I don't see him anywhere. Where is Jean-Claude? Why does the director, all the 25% minority owner, come up and really make decisions, yet he has not obviously gone ahead to run a successful football project? Why doesn't he really allow these other people to obviously do their job? I remember him coming out and really putting out statements when Erik ten Hag was here that he is leaving the other people to be responsible for the job, and he is now overtaking everything. And the shocking bit of it all is that we are losing games. I was planning to obviously first come up and do a live stream about yesterday's result, and unfortunately, we cannot even talk about it. You understand? Because 2 losses, and I tell you, Ruben Amorim is not safe. He's going to be sacked if these results don't obviously come up and obviously clear out. You understand? So, I'm really very perturbed and pissed. Dan Ashworth would have gone ahead to spend the season here. Now, I want to give you a narrative at Arsenal. You understand? Arsenal brought in Edu, but you saw that Arsenal went ahead to complete 8th in 2 consecutive seasons. 2019, 2020, you understand? 2020, 2021. Arsenal finished 8th. Did they sack their sporting director? They left him there. Now, seasons later, in the season of 2021-2022, Arsenal finished 5th. They went back to the UEFA Europa League. You understand? After that, 2022-2023, they finished 2nd. They even competed for the trophy. 2023-2024, City was just ahead of them by 2 points. Right now, the season is really going on, and for the 3rd season in a row, they are competing for the trophies. You understand? So, I want to warn United fans that the reason as to why we wanted Qataris here, it's because they are obviously going to take the Glazers out of the picture 100%. Now, right now, we are having an invisible hand. We don't know whether it's for the Glazers or not. You understand? But what I want to let you know is, this is a TRE situation. You know, we thought that this box of administration had going to have to be ticked. And by the way, even when Ten Hag was sacked, most of the fans were like, let the board do what they want to do. And that's where they had given their trust, or they had really gone ahead, obviously, hinge their trust on. But with these uncalled for sackings of people at Manchester United, I think the fans are really going to be agitated. They're really going to be fuming, because you can't tell me that a club like Manchester United, that has gone ahead to yearn for a sporting director for all this long, has been sacked. You know, that he has been sacked. You understand? You can tell us this. And don't be surprised when a team like Arsenal goes in for Dan Ashworth, because also Edu, their sporting director, has gone ahead to leave. And there is a narrative that I really want to obviously relate to, because Arsenal's bad performances happened when, one, Arsenal, we are really having problems with the ex-sporting director, that is Edu. You know, that's when Arsenal went ahead obviously lose games like that. And guys, when all that came to pass and Edu parted ways with Arsenal is back to winning ways. Now, you can't be having problems with the person who is the head of football, the head of the footballing department at Manchester United, and you expect the team to be performing very well. Meaning that even before Erik ten Hag was here, even before Erik ten Hag was sacked, you know, there were wrangles amongst these bosses, meaning that there is fight for power. I think Dan Ashworth is like, why don't you allow me do my job? Sir Jim Ratcliffe is like, I'm the one who gave you the job. I want you to be doing this. Looks like the direction's coming from above to obviously order the sporting director to do certain things. And this is where I've gone ahead to see players like Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, the Casemiros, still here. Yet the problem of Manchester United is Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, because they're really earning a lot of money. And for a player to be earning that much, he has to be doing an Odegaard role, you know, because Bruno Fernandes is good, but he's not a modern number 10. Rashford is a player who is inconsistent, you understand? And I tell you, those are the problems that we are really going to incur, the club of Manchester United, if INEOS doesn't really get these things right. And more people are really going to be sacked, you know? And this unsettlement is not going to stop, you know? Man City is having a case where they've gone ahead to be charged close to 115 charges, you know, and most of those bleaches are all about finance. Who was the head of finance or football finance or a financial department at City? It was Omar Berrada. Now, if City are proven guilty, that means even Omar Berrada will see himself out of the club of Manchester United, as he will be banned from taking part into any football activity. All else will have to be paying a fine. So, I think we are really bad, you know, and I'm contemplating that. The storm hasn't yet gone ahead to settle. Ruben Amorim has fell into something that he doesn't know. And if you are a fan of Manchester United, you are seeing that Ruben Amorim is obviously going to fall into problems. He's inheriting problems that have been here. That's why I was like, let Erik ten Hag be here. Whether we are getting results or not, let us use him as a litmus test. Let us clear the ground. You understand? After leveling the ground, clearing the ground, level it up, let's get in a new manager who will obviously take us to where we want to be. And the recruitment of the manager also showed that there was a very, very, very naive brain in recruiting the manager. You can't sack a manager, you know, like Erik ten Hag, and bring in a manager who doesn't believe in his style of play, like his formation. And you bring in a manager who is going to bring in a new formation that we are just going to learn. And I doubt that Dan Ashworth obviously went ahead to give a green light to bring in Ruben Amorim, because a footballing director knows exactly who he should bring in. I tell you, that is it. He has to be knowing that this person I'm bringing in, I'm not bringing him in the preseason, I'm bringing him in the mid of the season. Meaning that you need to bring in a manager who is really going to use these players in that formation. You understand? So, that shows you that there is an invisible hand from the above coming in through to obviously make orders that let's get him so and so. You know, that's why you saw to it that it was Dave Bracefold, you know, and it was Dave Bracefold and Jason Wilcox who were in Portugal to get that deal done. Yet their boss was supposed to be there. And who is their boss? Who is the boss? Who is the head of football department of the club of Manchester United? It's none other than Dan Ashworth, meaning that all was not okay and there are things that were not really going on well. So, we wait and see how that pans out, but things are not really moving on well. I tell you this, because Manchester United is really in tatters, and this is one of the things that I'm really very perturbed about, and I'm worried about how that board is obviously going to clear out this mess, because it's a mess and it's a move in the wrong direction. The Athletic have confirmed us that while the club say the agreement to end Dan Ashworth's contract was mutual, multiple sources say United instigated the separation. So, you've heard it very well. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe was at his hell, meaning that he's really poking his nose into matters that are not his. In the real sense of administration, who should sack Dan Ashworth? It should be Omar Berada, the CEO. The CEO, then, after really feeling that Dan Ashworth, he's not the right man for the job, he writes a letter to the man above him, who is Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers are supposed to approve it. If they say no to it, that person stays. If they say yes, he goes. So, that's what I'm really seeing at Manchester United. That is not proper football administration. That football administration is sickening. It's worrying. You get? We might see ourselves even look worse than how we looked under the Glazers. You know? You can't tell me that recruitment is obviously going to go on like this at Manchester United. You bring in a sporting director, he recruits players. After recruiting players, you sack him. After sacking him, you get in another one, and he also recruits players, you sack him. You know? That is really very naive. And the fans of Manchester United should demonstrate about this. If I'm the fans of Manchester United, they should plan a demonstration against INEOS for their naive running of this club. Things are not run this way. Things are not run this way. And one thing he should know, I'm talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, is that United is the biggest supported club in the world. When even if you really sneeze, you cough, you whisper, the world hears. And he's really going to be the talk of point, because the results are not really coming in through, and we are really seeing this big story surpassing the club of Manchester United. And you just feel like something is wrong. And I pity everyone who thinks that Amorim is bad. Amorim is not bad. Erik ten Hag was not bad, but he was really fighting with lots of forces at the club of Manchester United, because these people at Manchester United want to run this as a committee, you know, be a head coach like you see Ruben Amorim. What we want is what you're going to do. You understand? And they never sat down this manager telling him that if you want to come to Manchester United, your system cannot be implemented now. Can we implement it in the summer? Because the Premier League is not like the league, the top league in Portugal. You get? And by the time he realizes it, that he's going to change it, it might be too late for him to obviously play a 3-4-3, so to play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 system that will obviously suit the players that we have. So, We are here to wait and see how things unfold. Now, we're not even talking about the loss of Nottingham Forest. We are going to be talking Dan Ashworth leaving, because more stories are really surfacing, and I'm going to be here bringing you those stories as obviously coming through. Rock and David is my name. Your thoughts on Dan Ashworth leaving Man United are welcome in the comment section below. I'm out for now. See you later. Enjoy your Sunday.